I realize I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now, so before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I'd like to set the record straight.
NFL quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, is a highly respected athlete, but if you're not a football fan, you may know him more for his personal life. Just last year in 2021, Shailene Woodley announced that she and Rodgers were engaged and had been for quite some time. The two began dating in the second half of 2020, so he must have popped the question pretty early in their relationship. Many know Shailene for her activism outside of film. She was arrested during a protest at Standing Rock, a movement promoting the rights of Indigenous communities and dissuading the government from plowing over their homes to create a pipeline. So it was kind of a surprise when she began dating Aaron, who is known for his conservative values. He was shrouded in controversy recently for his opposition to the shot. He's become more and more outspoken as time went on, and is largely considered pretty problematic for his views. Today, we get into it. So, we're covering Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, but I'd love to hear your suggestions for future videos. Let us know in the comments down below who you'd like to see on the next episode, and be sure to hit the like button so we can make more videos for you guys. Aaron Rodgers was born in California to a football-loving father. His dad was an offensive lineman for the Chico State Wildcats in the 70s before pivoting to a chiropractic practice. Aaron credits his father for instilling a love of sport into him when he was very young. He recalls throwing a football with his dad and brothers, and his father pressing onto the boys not to drink or party in college because it would limit their sports abilities. Rodgers took this advice to heart, and it helped him hone in on his dedication to football later in life. While in high school, Aaron played as the quarterback for the team. He set school records for most touchdowns and yard passes. On top of his exceptional sport ability, he graduated from high school with a very high SAT score and an A average. Despite breaking several local football records, colleges weren't very interested in recruiting him. Aaron was small by their standards, being only 165 pounds and standing at 5'10". He was rejected from Florida State and considered giving up his dreams of playing in professional sports to become a lawyer. Eventually, he was recruited to play football at a community college, and he played there for 1 year. He scored 26 touchdowns in his freshman season and leading the school to a 10-win, 1-loss record. After playing a game, he was approached by the UC Berkeley head coach, who was shocked to learn that Rodgers hadn't been recruited much earlier. Because of his good grades, Aaron was able to transfer to Berkeley and play there instead, where he finally got the recognition he needed as a great athlete despite his smaller than average stature. From then on, Aaron Rodgers successfully led Berkeley through multiple records and quickly became starting quarterback a year early. His highly impressive career in college football meant that Aaron decided to forego a senior year at Berkeley in favor of entering the NFL draft early. A lot of NFL scouts complimented Rodgers and commented that he was a, quote, talented strong-arm junior who combines arm strength, mechanics, and delivery to make all the throws. Despite being a highly respected player, people were shocked when Rodgers slid from the top pick all the way down to 24th overall pick. His dream team, the San Francisco 49ers, picked Alex Smith out of Utah instead of Rodgers. Aaron reports feeling extreme angst and restlessness while waiting for several hours to be selected in the draft, especially given the shock of how easy he expected it to be. A large part of the team's hesitancy on choosing Aaron was kind of out of his hands. He picked an unlucky year to enter the draft because most teams had more pressing positional needs for players that weren't quarterbacks. But eventually, Aaron got drafted by the Green Bay Packers. The story of Aaron's slip to 24th selection was big news in the sports world. It was even ranked number 1 on the NFL's top 10 draft moments as the really weird event. The first 2 years of Aaron being in professional sports, he was a backup quarterback for their starter. This isn't a slight and is quite common in the rookie years of an athlete as they get accustomed to the NFL. His first game wasn't the greatest either though, as he only completed 2 out of 7 passes and was sacked twice. Sacked, for those who don't know, means that he was tackled before he could even make a pass to another player. He was largely kept off the field during games and left to practice in the hopes of bettering his craft. After the Packers epically lost a season, their head coach was fired and replaced by a new one who placed Rodgers in quarterback school for 6 hours a day, several times a week. Rather than scrapping Aaron altogether like the previous coach had, he saw the potential for a great sportsman in him. He worked together to improve the quarterback's motor skills, his hand-eye coordination, finger dexterity, and mechanics. When the starter quarterback for the Packers retired, Aaron was finally up to the bat, and he quickly proved himself to be one of the best in the league by passing for over 4,000 yards in his first season and throwing 28 touchdowns with only 13 interceptions. Ever since then, he's been named most valuable player 3 times in his career, career, and he's won one Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has also had numerous television appearances. He's cameoed in The Office, an episode of Game of Thrones, and an episode of a sketch comedy show Key and Peele. He was also a Jeopardy guest host for 2 weeks. Although raised Catholic, Aaron stated in 2017 that he doesn't consider himself part of any religion. Fast forward to 2020 when he and actress Shailene Woodley began dating. They first met through mutual friends and said a large part of their success in dating was due to the lockdown, which meant, quote, "We were able to get to know one another the way we wanted to get to know one another and not have any noise or chaos around us." The two have also officially announced their engagement in February 2020, so they must have gone pretty fast because that's at most only 6 to 8 months of dating before the big question was asked. She announced on the Jimmy Fallon Show in February 2021, and they met in the later part of 2020. The two haven't set a date yet for their wedding, but I assume a lot of couples these days are waiting for things to calm down a bit before they can have the big bash. 2021 was certainly an interesting year for Aaron Rodgers outside of his betrothal. An ESPN article astutely personifies him as, quote, "brazen, leaning into culture wars, showing the world he is unafraid to fight back or denounce anyone he believes has lied to him or wronged him." In a video streaming interview with the Manning cast, Rodgers sits in his living room behind an impressive-looking bookshelf. One of the hosts asks him what his favorite book is from his collection, and Rodgers picks up Atlas Shrugged and said, quote, "I've got Atlas Shrugged here by Ayn Rand. Her name is pronounced Ayn Rand, by the way." The internet got kind of into a tizzy about his literature choice, especially considering how controversial Atlas Shrugged is. It's a book with racist ideals that promotes secularism and individualism. In truth though, Rodgers hadn't even read the book. I mean, he pronounced the name wrong, and only picked it because it was the biggest one on the shelf. He later stated in an interview that he thought people were stupid for taking him seriously and canceling him for a book he didn't read. I don't know, the dude's an amazing football player, but I always find it a little cringe when someone's reaction to critical people is, "Hey, you mad?" and then they go on this whole rant and freak out about how they're right and you're wrong. It's just a little embarrassing. Either way, Aaron also has some troubling opinions on shots and whether or not they're effective. He seems to think they're not. He's very vocal about it, but sadly because of YouTube law, I can't really go into the specifics. He's also very against trusting the government, choosing instead to rely on conspiracy about the real numbers associated with the big sick, and he thinks that we're being lied to make it seem more serious than it is. While the internet freaked out at that, especially because his status means that when he gets sick, which he did, he has to miss 10 days of work. His career has definitely suffered because of his opinions, and he's missed a few games. Instead of getting the jab, he has received homeopathic treatment from his personal doctor. He's also been cited multiple violations for attending parties and not wearing PPE. It seems like whether or not you agree with him, Rodgers is more intent on maintaining his lifestyle than maintaining his career. If he weren't such a good player, it's likely that his consequences would have been a bit heavier than just a couple $1,000s in fines. It seems that based on how outspoken he is about his political views, this is almost more of a protest against the protocol than it is him actually wanting to go to parties or anything. He seems to be violating the rules just to say he did, which is also a little childish if you ask me. Whether or not you agree with him and his personal views, Aaron Rodgers is a great football player. But what do you think about his controversies? Let us know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your civil and nice opinions about it. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more content. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Where Are They Now? I've been your host, Sierra. Have a great day.